You've been waiting in a digital queue for an hour. The screen refreshes. You finally secure the tickets to see your favorite artist. The price says $100. You click through to checkout, adrenaline pumping, only to stare at a final total of $175. Service fees, facility charges, processing fees, a mysterious convenience fee. You click buy anyway, feeling completely extorted. You aren't imagining things, and you aren't alone. You just fell victim to the most successful, universally despised monopoly in modern American history. This isn't just about expensive concerts. This is a masterclass in market manipulation, a flawlessly executed system where competition is dead and highway robbery is entirely legal. To understand how you are being played, you have to look behind the curtain. When you buy a ticket, you assume a simple transaction. You pay the artist, the venue takes a cut, and the ticketing website takes a small processing fee. That's how a healthy market works. But the live entertainment industry isn't a healthy market. It's a walled garden owned by a single, terrifyingly powerful entity, Live Nation Entertainment. In 2010, Ticketmaster, the dominant ticket seller, merged with Live Nation, the dominant concert promoter. Imagine if the company that owned all the grocery stores suddenly merged with the company that owned all the farms and then bought all the delivery trucks. That is the live music industry today. They control the artist's tour. They manage the artist. They own or exclusively operate the venue. And, of course, they sell the ticket. When every step of the supply chain is controlled by one corporation, the consumer loses the only weapon they have: choice. If an artist wants to tour major venues, they have to work with Live Nation. If a venue wants major artists to perform there, they have to use Ticketmaster. Because of these exclusive, ironclad contracts, competition is functionally illegal. And when there is no competition, there is absolutely no incentive to lower prices or improve the abysmal customer experience. Let's break down the anatomy of the extortion, the junk fees. They use a tactic called drip pricing. By advertising a lower base price and hiding the true cost until the final checkout screen, they exploit human psychology. By the time you see the fees, you've already invested time, emotional energy, and panic into securing the seats. You are held hostage by a ticking timer. These fees are deliberately vague. A service fee suggests you are paying for the upkeep of the website, but Ticketmaster's platform notoriously crashes during almost every major tour. The reality is much darker. These fees are a carefully engineered smokescreen. Ticketmaster often acts as the designated villain. They take the heat, absorbing the public hatred, while quietly kicking back a portion of those exorbitant fees to the venues and the promoters, which, remember, are often just other branches of the exact same company. They weaponize your anger, redirecting it away from the structural monopoly and toward a nebulous processing charge. The interface itself is a weapon. Dark patterns are baked into the code of the ticketing process. The countdown timer creates a false sense of panic. The seating maps are notoriously glitchy, showing seats disappearing in real time to trigger the fear of missing out. You are making financial decisions under extreme manufactured duress. It's the exact same psychology used in casino slot machines, designed to bypass your logical brain and trigger an emotional, impulsive purchase. When that total jumps by 60% at the final click, your brain is too exhausted by the adrenaline and the panic of the ticking timer to back out. You rationalize it. You tell yourself it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But it's not. It's Tuesday, and a multi-billion-dollar corporation just hacked your nervous system to extract an extra $80. But the manipulation doesn't stop at fees. Enter dynamic pricing. You might have noticed ticket prices fluctuating wildly, surging into the thousands of dollars for standard seats. Ticketmaster claims this is just a free market at work, allowing prices to adjust to demand in real time to deter scalpers. But who controls the supply? Live Nation. They deliberately hold back huge percentages of tickets from the general public. They allocate tickets to credit card pre-sales, VIP packages, and industry insiders, creating an artificial scarcity. When the general public finally gets access to a severely restricted pool of tickets, the algorithm detects massive demand and skyrockets the price. They engineered the scarcity, and then they charge you a premium for it under the guise of fair market value. And what about the scalpers? Ticketmaster insists they are fighting them, but the math tells a different story. The secondary ticket market is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and Ticketmaster wanted a piece. They created their own verified resale market. Now, A scalper can use automated bots to buy up inventory often unchecked by Ticketmaster's supposedly secure systems and instantly relist those exact same tickets on Ticketmaster's resale platform at a massive markup. Why would Ticketmaster allow this? Because when a ticket is resold on their platform, they collect a second round of service fees from the buyer and often a fee from the seller. They get paid when the ticket is born, and they get paid again when it is scalped. They have monetized the very problem they claim to be solving. Artists hate it too. They want to perform for their fans, not bankrupt them. But artists don't have a choice either. If a band wants to play an arena tour, Live Nation owns or operates the majority of those arenas. If the band tries to demand lower ticket fees, Live Nation can simply refuse to book them, effectively ending their ability to tour at scale. Some legendary bands have tried to fight back. In the 90s, Pearl Jam famously went to war with Ticketmaster, testifying before Congress about the monopolistic practices. They tried to organize a tour entirely outside the Ticketmaster ecosystem. It was a logistical nightmare. They had to play in obscure fields and non-standard venues, ultimately proving exactly how impenetrable the monopoly was. Pearl Jam lost. And if one of the biggest rock bands in the world couldn't break the system, what chance does a mid-level artist have today? None. You might be wondering how any of this is legal. How does a company blatantly operate a monopoly, manipulate supply, and double dip on fees without the government stepping in? For over a decade, the answer was a mixture of powerful lobbying, regulatory apathy, and a flawed legal framework. When the Department of Justice approved the merger in 2010, they imposed a consent decree, a set of rules Live Nation had to follow to ensure they didn't retaliate against venues that chose to use competing ticketing software. But without serious enforcement, these rules were little more than suggestions. Venues knew the unspoken truth. If you dump Ticketmaster, you lose the massive tours controlled by Live Nation. It's an offer you can't refuse. Mafia-style economics dressed up in corporate legalese. This invincibility isn't an accident. It's paid for. Live Nation Entertainment spends millions of dollars every single year lobbying politicians. They fund campaigns, they hire former government officials, and they craft legislation that protects their business model. Whenever a state tries to pass a law requiring all-in pricing where the total cost, including fees, must be shown up front, or laws attempting to regulate the resale market, Live Nation's army of lobbyists swarms the legislative floors. They draft loopholes. They muddy the waters. They ensure that any regulation passed is either toothless or actually reinforces their dominance under the guise of consumer protection. The result is a broken ecosystem where artists are squeezed, independent venues are suffocated, and fans are treated like endless cash dispensers. The illusion of a glitchy, frustrating ticketing website masks a highly efficient, ruthlessly optimized machine designed to extract maximum capital with zero accountability. Recently, the sheer volume of public outrage has finally forced the Department of Justice to launch an antitrust lawsuit aimed at breaking up this empire. But until that structural collapse happens, the game remains rigged. Every time you enter that queue, you are stepping into a casino where the house doesn't just have an edge. The house owns the cards, the chips, the dealers, and the exits. And until the rules change, they will keep reaching into your pockets, and we will keep clicking buy. Let me know down in the comments what your absolute worst ticketing experience has been, and if you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into how companies manipulate the market.